You know, for your entire career, you've probably been taught that sales is all about making a friend. But what if that's just wrong? Today, we're going to challenge that core belief and show you why that super friendly approach might be the single biggest thing holding you back.
This quote just hits differently, right? Think about it from the buyer's side for a second. They are getting hammered all day long with the same generic questions. So when you show up and you're just nice without bringing any real insight to the table, you're basically signaling you have no value to offer. You're not an expert, you're just another interruption in their day.
And look, so many of us fall into this trap. We think, hey, if I can just get the prospect to like me, the sale will naturally follow. But the hard truth is being liked is a total vanity metric in sales. I can't tell you how many times I got that email, "We really liked you, but we've decided to go in a different direction." That's when it hit me. I was measuring the wrong thing completely.
And this isn't just a feeling I had. The data actually backs this up. Researchers have a name for it, the agreeableness penalty. Study after study shows that people who are highly agreeable, the classic nice guys, they tend to earn less. And why is that? Well, it's because that deep need to avoid conflict means they're way more likely to settle for less, not just for themselves, but for their clients too.
Okay, so this brings us to the absolute heart of the matter. We have to understand the huge difference between being liked and being trusted. Because when the stakes are high, when it really, really matters, people don't pick the person they like, they pick the person they trust.
So let's just break it down. On one side, you've got the nice guy. His main goal? Avoid tension. Keep everything smooth, keep everyone happy. But on the other side, you've got the trusted expert. This person gets it. They know that real solutions often require a little bit of productive tension. Their focus isn't on being comfortable, it's on being effective.
And this analogy just nails it. I mean, seriously, think about it. If you need brain surgery, is there even a choice? Of course not. You don't bet your life on likability, you bet on proven, trusted expertise. And believe me, your prospects, whether they admit it or not, are making that exact same calculation about their business.
Now look at this number, 53%. That is a huge deal. Over half of customer loyalty has nothing to do with the brand, the price, or even the product. It is driven entirely by the sales experience, by the value and the insight that you personally bring to the conversation. You are the differentiator.
Okay, so if being nice is a dead end, what's the alternative? The answer is a totally different way of thinking, the challenger. This model just flips the entire script. You stop focusing on building rapport and instead focus on delivering game-changing insights that actually lead your customer to a better place.
So, how does a challenger do it? It really boils down to 3 core principles. First, they teach the prospect something new, something valuable about their own business they didn't see. Second, they tailor that insight so it's not generic. It hits home for that specific person in their world. And third, they take control of the sale, confidently guiding the customer to the right solution.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, so does being a challenger just mean I have to be a jerk now? And the answer is a hard no. Absolutely not. There's a massive difference, and the key to getting it right is the operating system that runs everything, a framework called radical candor. This little framework makes everything crystal clear. You've got 2 axes, care personally and challenge directly. If you care, but you don't challenge, you're stuck in that nice guy trap of ruinous empathy. If you challenge but you don't show you care, well, you're just being a jerk. That's obnoxious aggression. The sweet spot, the goal, is radical candor. That's where caring deeply gives you the permission to challenge directly. All right, so the mindset makes sense, but how do you actually do it? Let's get into the challenger's toolkit. We're going to move from the what to the how, and I'll show you exactly how you can put this model into action using tools that are mostly free.
And here's the big mental shift. A challenger acts way more like a doctor than a salesperson. They get this one fundamental truth. You have to diagnose the real underlying problem before you ever try to prescribe a solution. Your prospect comes to you with a symptom. The challenger does a full diagnosis to find the actual disease so they can offer a real cure.
So how do you even start diagnosing an entire market so you have something to teach? It's actually simpler than you think. For example, you can go to a site like Yellow Pages, search for a business type in a certain city, and just copy the whole page of results. Then you paste that mess of data into ChatGPT and ask it to clean it up into a table. Just like that, in a few minutes, you've got a market snapshot, a list of symptoms you can now analyze to find a much bigger problem nobody else is seeing.
Now, once you have those market insights, you can tailor your approach. This is not about spamming a giant list. It's about surgically isolating the perfect target. You can use tools like Google or Apollo.io to filter by industry, company size, and location to find the exact decision makers whose problems you are now uniquely qualified to solve. This is how you make your teaching relevant.
Here's another huge difference. A nice guy crosses his fingers and hopes his efforts work. A trusted expert proves their value with cold, hard data. They don't guess, they measure, they track, and they optimize based on what's actually working. This is how you go from being just busy to being effective.
And one of the most critical metrics for this is return on ad spend, or ROAS. See, it's not about brand awareness, it's about getting a direct response. This simple formula tells you exactly how much money you're making for every single dollar you put into your outreach or your ads.
Let's just run through a quick real-world example. Let's say you spend $1,000 on ads. That brings in 20 leads, which means your cost per lead is $50. Now, out of those 20 leads, 4 of them actually convert into customers. If each customer pays you $300, you've just generated $1,200 in revenue.
So, the final result is a return on ad spend of 1.2x. Now, yeah, it's profitable, but the real magic here is that you now have a baseline. You're not flying blind anymore. This is how you take control of the sale. You can now start testing, optimizing, and scaling up what works, all because you can actually measure your impact. So we've covered a lot, right? The mindset, the tactics, the metrics. We've basically mapped out the entire journey from being a people pleaser to becoming a trusted advisor. Now it all comes down to one simple defining question you need to start asking yourself.
From now on, after every single call you make, I want you to ask yourself this. What was my real goal? Was I just there to make a friend and keep things comfortable? Or was I there to be a trusted expert, somebody who isn't afraid to challenge assumptions in order to solve real tough problems? Because honestly, the answer to that question will define your entire career.